Okay, welcome everyone. This is a special meeting, and we're hosting the writer Luis Molero from Spain, and he's written this amazing book called Unstoppable on his journey into the three principles. So this is going to be a conversation about the three principles, and with the twist of telling the story in many different ways. So I don't know how I should introduce you, but maybe you just say a few words about yourself, and I would like also to read some quotes from the book, and we can talk about like whatever comes up, and people can ask questions
No,
and share stuff. So
yeah,
let's just have fun.
that could be lovely if someone asks something, or because Maja and me also, we are like very free, no? Like whatever comes up, we say we don't have a plan. So that's wonderful. But maybe we keep silent, and then it's like I think some of you were listening to a tape called Beyond the Words, and I think it's gonna be something like that because my English is not that great. But anyway, I think what we want to talk about is a feeling. There are many ideas attached to that feeling, to that nice feeling. But I think we're gonna go through all that. I mean, it doesn't matter if the English is not that good, or if we don't talk that much. It doesn't matter. It's a nice feeling we have in common and a few ideas. I don't know if some of you have read the book already. It's about the three principles. And maybe the main idea or theme in the book is that we don't have to listen to our thoughts, to believe all our thoughts, because some of them are obviously lying to us and they make us suffer. So I think we all more or less know about that in our own lives. So if anyone wants to say something in any time, just up with the hand, and that's all. Someone else? Simon, I think.
Okay. So I don't know. Do you live in Malaga?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, in the south of Spain. Mm.
In the south of Spain. Yeah. And we haven't met, right? We just like I don't even know how we started talking, but I attended one of your courses. Like you teach writing,
Mm.
and yeah, that was interesting. So a lot of different writing exercises, trying to getting in touch with that inner spark, the inner wisdom and joy.
Mm.
Mm. So I really loved reading your book. And I think would it be nice if I just read something so that
Yeah,
everyone could hear just a taste of it? So
great. That would be
you're right. You're
okay.
right. And when we just talked about it, that was funny. You said you don't remember a word of the book.
No,
Like
but now I've read a little bit. I have the Spanish
I will,
version, and
now I will remind you. So
mm,
this is from chapter 3 that says fears. Fear,
fierce.
like
Okay.
conflict. When we are kids, we believe in all kinds of wonders and magical beings.
Mm.
Remember? It doesn't seem strange at all that Peter Pan might exist, or the three wise men, or Snow White, or that mysterious little mouse who leaves a coin under our pillow every time we lose a tooth.
Mm.
In Denmark, it's not a mouse, by the way. but never mind. But the flip side of believing in magic is this: we're also totally convinced that terrifying creatures are real, too. Vampires, witches, the boogeyman. That's why even as we lie in bed wide-eyed and excited, waiting for Santa to arrive, we also keep a very close and nervous eye on what's under the bed, because that's where the monsters live. We all know that, right? Later, as we grow up, it's like a plague sweeps across the land, a medieval-style epidemic that wipes out the entire population of magical characters. Boom, they're gone. The first to go are usually the toy deliverers. Whether they ride camels in groups of 3 or fly solo in a sleigh with a big belly. And with them goes a little piece of magic. In its place, something much more mundane takes over. It's your parents who buy the toys, who sneak out of bed at dawn to arrange the packages in the living room. And just like any structure, dream made or not, if you pull out one piece, the rest starts to crumble. One by one, all the others fall, until you are left with a flat, logical world where imagination no longer seems to belong. How's that? Or at least that's what we think. The truth? Fantasy never really leaves. It just hides, waiting, still spinning its illusions. And what's even more unsettling, we still believe in monsters. We just don't look for them under the bed anymore. We don't need to, because they were there. They were never there to begin with. They've always been in our heads, and they're still there. I find this really, really funny to read.
It's lovely to see you smile with that. Really, that's the whole point of the book. If you smile, that's all.
That's great.
And I don't know in Denmark, but in Spain we have a little mouse called Raton Pérez. And every time you lose a teeth, he gives you some coin and put it under the pillow.
Okay.
How is that in Denmark?
In Denmark, it's a tooth fairy. So what if the Danish kids go to Spain? That will be a mouse coming, taking that tooth?
Yeah, it's a mouse.
Is that so?
Raton Pérez is lovely, but I think it's not a very good idea, because I remember when I was a child pulling the teeth in order to take the money. So it's not good. It reinforced the idea that you have to, that losing teeth is good, you know? Anyway, this is not what I wanted to talk about, but I thought it was funny, the mouse and the fairy and all that, because actually we don't change that much. We look under the bed, and of course it's ridiculous because it's not there, the monster. But after that, we look it in the bank application, you know, to see the money. And then if you have certain amount of money, you feel okay. But if not, you feel afraid, and it's like a monster also. Or you make it a bit more abstract, but it's a monster anyway. And you keep feeling the fear, the terror, and all that. So I think in a way we never grow up. We just change the imaginary, you know, from Disney to a bit more, you know, Tim Burton, and then darker, and then, I don't know. But it's always fantasy.
That's true. So you could say, like, when you sort of experience that you grow up and forget all the stories about Santa Claus and the tooth fairy or the mouse or whatever, that the world becomes like real. So this is the real world, like there's no magic, and it's like that is kind of the way we see it in this 3 principles reality is more like that's the story too.
Yeah, of
So
course.
imagining that the world is plain and logic,
Mm.
that's the story, and and uh, and not one that makes our life better, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, well, it's not logical at all. I mean, you only have to see the news and you see people are completely, it's surreal. I mean, people prepare for war. Like if it's the first time in the history of the world that we are going to have a war, it's something completely useless, but people fail in the same trap. And we also, I mean, you watch TV and there are a lot of scary stories, no? Like, don't go out, the vampires, the zombies are out there. They don't say that anymore, but they say the climate is changing, the weather, something. So people are really afraid.
And then there is cancer, you know. If
Yeah,
nothing else scares people,
yeah,
that's what I want for sure.
that one is very good for, I mean, for scaring people, of course. So, but the funny thing is, we really believe that we shouldn't have fantasy or that the magic doesn't exist, and it exists. I mean, of course, there are things every day, every minute that are just miracles. We we don't see them. That's all.
Exactly.
But there are so many. I mean, if one of us, all of us, I mean, each one of us, would think of a miracle in his or her life, mm, that would change the whole thing. I mean, we think the miracle is something that happened sometime in a life, and actually, it's a direction where we are not looking at. That's all. We're looking at what happens every day, every day, every day. But if we start to look to those moments, brilliant moments, there are many. Do you remember any in your life?
I was just thinking about that, and I was like, I can't really remember any miracles. And you know, it's easy to forget because
Yeah,
it gets normal. So
yeah.
so but of course I had the one of pain, the chronic pain vanishing. That will
Mm,
count as a miracle, right? But it's not important now because I'm not in pain. It's not bothering me,
yeah.
right? But I know it happens, and it happens to a lot of people. Um and well, like a blood pressure that goes down from sky high to normal in just an hour, that would count as a miracle. And I mention these things because I'm kind of biased to talk about nursing stuff.
Yeah, yeah, but they are obviously
but,
miracles. I mean,
but I also experience kind of changes in like relationships. Like recently, I just um well, I knew it wasn't a real problem, but my way of thinking about it,
mm,
that my new lover would not spend as much time with me as I wanted, and through um contemplating on a deeper level, I I landed in a way of seeing it as a um just an experience,
mm,
and totally detach from that story. And 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 the funny thing is that really changed the reality in the real world. Like he just came and visited me. So,
so
but like for the first time in a long time.
you mean that first you had like a story attached to that, no? A
Yes, I had a
story that made.
story, and then I saw through it, sort of beyond the story,
Mm,
and I saw that there was really no. no reality there.
Yeah.
So that kind of a miracle happens too.
Yeah. Yeah, normally it's just a change in the way you see things. And then you start to see things from another perspective, and then things change also. I mean, not only your vision, but things.
I don't know how to say I'm looking for a small hand and can't find it. I can't find anything actually.
Just talk.
Yeah.
I just talk, okay. I think it's very nice listening to you, and that's why I thought of miracles in another way. I am superstitious, and so for example, I do things. First of all, I still see monsters at night when the lights go off, which is awful for me. I try to have a little lamp on somewhere so I can check them. That is possibly a part of me that never grew up. But for example, what I considered a miracle, which is of course not as profound and as it may be as important, is, for example, I have a long flight from Germany to home, and it's about 14 hours. So I get on the plane, and then I say, okay, if I cross my fingers on the right way, nobody will sit beside me, and I have a free seat for me. And it works. And it works. And those are my miracles. Nobody, I don't know. They're foolish games I play. I've always done them. Try to escape the normal thing. I mean, it has nothing to do, but I really, at that moment, I believe that if I cross my fingers or start repeating a certain word often enough, nobody will sit beside me and I'll have 2 seats all for myself. And that I consider a miracle.
It's a miracle.
Yeah, it's a small little miracle. It's of course, it's not important or big and nothing. It's a small little miracle, but it's a miracle at last, with magic.
Yeah. Sounds very convenient anyway.
Yeah. Practical miracle. It's like anyone else have a miracle that wants to share with us? I'm sure you have. Antonio.
Yeah, well, I have a miracle recently. At least I won a contest. I was one. Thank you very much, Luis, for introducing me and everybody else here as well. And it's funny because as Maja said at the beginning, maybe sometimes you don't realize, maybe till you look it back and say, oh, I thought, or at least I could consider this a miracle. The most recent for me was like 2 weeks ago. I was traveling to my hometown. I usually go by bus to my hometown. It's like a 5 hours drive. We're not driving by bus because it stops in different stations, so it usually takes longer. But this time I decided to rent a car, like a blah blah car. It's called here like a Uber, let's say, more or less, for a person. The person doesn't arrive on time. It was like a rainy day in Malaga, here where I live as well, like Luis. And the thing is, I think because that situation, literally that situation, I mean, I didn't took the bus that time, and I was with the car. When we were in the motorway, suddenly the car broke up and stopped on the left-hand side of the road. Let's say where the speedy side of the road. And at that moment, you don't know where, but if any car was coming behind us, it will it will impact us, and we'll be like a quite, you don't know if you will survive or you will be just a small accident or whatever, But just the minutes we spent there in the car because we couldn't go out, especially in that situation. We were so lucky that the cars behind us that were speeding, they have the chance to avoid to hit us. At the end we say, okay, we are lucky. After that, we came out of the car, starting to advertising other people. I mean, to the other cars, just making aware that the car was stopped in that position, so we would try to make them move to the right hand side. And we call the police. The police is Guardia Civil. That is basically like police that is in the motorways and everything here in Spain. And they didn't arrive in the whole time we were there. But luckily, there were like two people that are used to fix things on the road. So they have like a big signals to make it clear, when they are building or fixing something on the road. And thanks to them, they could make the traffic to go all of them to the right hand side, And we were so lucky. Let's say, okay, what happened if I took the bus? Maybe I would be safer at home, even later, but I will be safer than if I was not there. Maybe I couldn't help the people that was driving the car. Maybe they didn't act so fast that maybe they could be in shock all the time inside of the car, because I told them, let's go out from the car because it's dangerous to stay here, to remain here. And later, these people was driving exactly at that time in a rainy day in here in Malaga at that time, like a heavy rain, not like a light one. And thanks to them, we avoid any tragic situation, because it was not just us, but also the people that were driving that could have like an accident, that could be killed, So for me, it was like a kind of, I consider that a miracle, to be honest. We were lucky. The people that were driving also were lucky that these people were flashing the lights to make them move to the other side. And to be honest, for me, that was really a miracle. And it was just like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, that's my reason why.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Luis.
Okay, so we believe in miracles. That's it, no? It looks like an ABBA song.
Yes.
So let's keep talking about the principles or the book or whatever. Do you want to read any quote or anything, as we said before, Maja?
No, I would just like to respond to Antonio. That was a nice story. So yeah, you might, if you just view it from, this is a plain and logical world, this might seem just like a coincidence. Things happen and you're lucky if you get away with it. But a lot of things go well. Like if you just consider everything that happens in your life in total, most of things go well. At least all of us here have survived so far.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like sometimes when we tell our stories, we don't acknowledge that. Like we don't count all the things that actually go well, or maybe the close to accidents that don't actually happen, right? We just we spend too much time preparing for bad stuff to happen.
Exactly.
And like the car accident that actually happened instead of the one at all that didn't. Right? So that is the kind of sort of black magic maybe that we work on our lives, making it look bad or making us not enjoy the life as it is. That's what one of the advantages of knowing about the inside out understanding is that you will automatically, at least for me and a lot of people, spend a lot less time, I should say, wondering what the next bad thing that might happen.
Yeah.
Right, because it doesn't make sense. Like Christina told us that when she imagines something happens that she would prefer, then it happens. It's quite the same when we imagine the other way around, like, oh my God, I just know somebody's going to sit there next to me, and then it happens.
Yeah.
Right?
But you feel awful, and it looks real before it even happens. So
I think sometimes we don't recognize miracles because we say it's luck. It's just been good luck. No, I really think that's why when you ask who else has a miracle to share, the things that really happened and are little miracles are then taken just as, I had luck and it went well. See, I think that's why we're not used to recognizing miracles the way they are. We think of Jesus making somebody stand up from the death or making the blind see again, but there are also small miracles which we somehow don't recognize. And I think if we enjoy our small miracles, life is much easier and much happier somehow.
Exactly. So it's kind of nice to live that way, believing that stuff may happen in a good way, and you cannot predict it.
You have to get old, real old. I'm old, that's why. I'm 74. I'm going to turn 75 quite soon. And you start seeing the life a little different. And you start believing the good things that happen. And you can look backwards, and sometimes you don't recognize the good things somehow. Because, yes, I had the seat, but somehow it was broken or whatever. Or you had wonderful vacations, but a small thing didn't work the way you expected the vacations to be. And so the whole holidays have actually no importance or weren't quite that nice. When you get old, you kind of, it's easier. It's easier to recognize the good things. So you just have to wait.
You recommend your age. That's good. So I don't have to fear getting older.
It gets better. It gets better, I think. Depends on the attitude, of course. So, anyone else wants to say something? We'll keep talking.
There's something nice about the book that I wanted to share, that it's like somewhere around the middle it changes. So and I also love the story about how you started it, that you wanted to write a book with the title Unstoppable, and suddenly you couldn't write a word. Like it stopped. So that's kind of ironic, right? And I think a lot of people could recognize that you want to do something and then you just can't. Like something stops you, and then you have an insight, and then you know what your next step is. So that is when it becomes simple, and then you start writing a lot of funny stuff, and somewhere along the road you kind of had a change or something. Maybe you can explain that to us. Like something happened that you noticed that you've been writing to please the reader somehow. We all know that feeling at first. But then something changed and you started writing just like from the heart, or how would you say it?
Well, I work with people to write. I mean to take the writer from inside, to taking out, because I don't think this is something you teach, but something you see that is inside you. So at the beginning, I wanted to write a book that was like serious, like something, a proper book in the three principles, which is very serious.
Proper serious book.
I couldn't, of course. That's why I stopped. Not because it's because sometimes when you stop something or you cannot do it, it's because it's a sign. I mean, it's a sign that you are doing something against you. Maybe to write the book is something you want, but not to write that kind of book. So I started to write just the first thing something that made me feel happy when I was writing, but it still wasn't really strong for me because I wanted to direct the book the whole time. But then there was a moment, I don't know why, but something changed and the book started to talk like on its own. And I didn't like what I was writing. I thought, what is this? I mean, it was supposed to be more serious, but the things were flowing so well. I mean, that I couldn't stop it. Wow. I didn't know. I thought this, or I thought that, or I could write this. So, I mean, the moment I stepped out of the book started to flow, and something better than me as a writer start to write the words, the pages, the stories, and it was fun to do that because it wasn't me, it wasn't my ego, it was something that is inside, and it's beautiful when you let it out. When you try to control it, it's not nice, and it's not interesting either. It's boring. So that was beautiful. I mean, from that moment, the book started to be really interesting for me in the first place because I didn't know what was going to write. Before I made those things, a lot of chapters and things, but I didn't follow. So it's like if you want to talk in front of people and you have everything, you know everything you're going to say, you have a script. And sometimes you make that out of fear because you don't know what you're going to say if you don't have that. But the result is not very alive because you know already. It's almost death. You're just reading or remembering. But if you just step and open your mouth and start talking, it's very lively. It's very scary, but it's another energy. It's beautiful. And you can do that in writing also. You can feel free and open your soul and express yourself. So I don't know, when people tell me that to write a book, they need an outline with everything, all the chapters, everything. For me, that's so boring. I wouldn't write a book like that. I want something fresh that you don't know that you know when you're doing it.
It's really nice. I know, Elizabeth, you know how this is, right? And you don't have to talk, but let me just tell the audience here that I've been reading some of your stories that I know you've been writing the style that Luis is talking about, and it's just beautiful.
Oh, I cannot hear you.
Ja, du skal
Elizabeth.
tage mikrofonen på. Altid det samme bøvl, ikke også?
I don't understand all Louis' words, but I knew here what he was talking about.
Wonderful.
Right? Yes.
That's funny.
It's the same way I do, I think.
Great.
My husband, he also was named Louis, and he started here and stopped here. Not thinking, but writing.
Great.
And always he said, start where something interests you.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
So this is great. I mean, we can understand even if all the words are not understood. It doesn't matter. How cute this here.
So a lot of interesting stories come out when you just yeah. And I believe also that maybe some people have the special talent for making stories and making them interesting to other people, right? Because it's like a special talent that it's unique.
I think it's what Elizabeth husband says. I mean, you start with something that is interesting to you.
you just have to allow the story to come out.
That's it. Well said.
Not be scared. I can't. Just do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the story comes from where, I don't know.
Yeah, the good stories don't come from, I don't know where they come from, but you don't know them in advance.
Luis, I'm sorry. I am off. I have this slight problem, and I have to take some medicine and lie down. I'm not feeling well, so I'm leaving you.
Feel
Okay.
better.
Okay, Cristina,
Yeah,
un besito, hablamos.
gracias. Pero estoy en off y eso es porque no me funciona la dopamina. Besos
Okay.
a todos.
Bye,
Bye
bye.
bye. Ah.
So you meet regularly to talk about the principles, or all of you?
Well, on and off, spontaneously. So I'm not like a every 2 weeks girl. But the Danish 3P community has a lot of meetings. So whoever's up for a meeting will just look where is the next one and jump on it. Right? Rege.
Ulrike wants to say something? No.
Yes, but she needs to unmute herself.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Still?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to say that the whole writing thing, I'm not a writer, but I'm coaching young people at a folk high school in Denmark. And it's a bit the same thing. I can have an idea to be curious when I have this conversation, but I'm not planning what is going to happen. And as soon as I try to, I want to talk about this or this or this, it's not going to be good. But if I just let it come from a quiet mind, it goes in directions I cannot figure out. I think it's a bit the same.
Yeah, exactly the same. You listen a lot. You, more than you talk, you listen, I imagine. Yeah, I was talking with Maja before. We were talking about coaching, and how if you happen to judge the person you are in front of, you stop listening. You stop. You cannot help that person. I mean, if you don't listen with peaceful heart, and if you do that, the words come out. It's the same that right in the book. It's exactly the same.
Now my daughter pops in. I
Yeah.
just take my hand up and
Very
down.
good.
It's the same when we play with our kids, right?
Yeah.
If we go in with an agenda that the kids should be like this or like that, or they should say this and say that, and be quiet, right, Tanya?
Eh? Tanya, yeah.
Literally, he didn't say anything like for 1.5 hours because he has been sitting with his iPad. I gave him, some 1.5 hours. And now when I started like to press the button to be here in this meeting, then he started to,
Oh,
I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I listened, but I couldn't understand any word you said. So
I just said, now you're saying something. Before you didn't say anything, but now you're saying something. Just flew out.
They're quiet just as long, and then it stops.
Yeah, exactly.
But my point is that when we go in with an idea that things should be like this or like that, or my kids should stay quiet from 7 to 9, and right, then whatever happens that doesn't align with my plan becomes a problem when we're in that state. And if we instead just listen to what is and like drop the story, you could say, then you just have an experience. And
Yeah, exactly. Like it's the expectations, like you're saying, because I was expecting my kid to be quiet now when I'm sitting in a
exactly.
meeting. So
And now there's a kid
then-
wanting to join.
you fight with reality. You say, no, this is not the way it's supposed to be. This is the same with everything. I mean, with a couple, with relationships, with everything, with writing, coaching.
Fighting with reality. That's
Yeah,
good.
fighting with reality. And you lose always because reality is the way it is. So yeah, maybe it's that. Maybe it's we have a reality inside, another reality that is not inside, and we want outside to be like inside. And we fight with that. With children, you can notice that every single moment because they do things that you don't really expect.
I don't know what you talked about before because I came in late, but about these expectations, it's like that's the reason that we sometimes like get disappointed or with other people because we expect that someone would answer or behave or do something in a certain way that we have built up in our mind, a story. And if it is like that, then we get disappointed or sad or mad or whatever. So, yeah. And blame the other person.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think also because we make up stories and they are very silly stories. Normally, there is some bad guy or some bad girl that does something wrong, and we have a whole day things like that going on in our head. Sometimes from the past. What my mother said to me, what my aunt said, and we repeat those stories. I think the three principles is great, and I love listening to Sydney Banks and all that. But I think there is another approach that is even shorter, and it's to stay in the moment. I know it's not that easy, it's not as easy as it sounds, but the less you think, the closer you are to that.
It's like walking a dog, right? When it goes a little too far, you call it back and say stay, right?
Yeah.
So I noticed that I can get a bit ahead of myself sometimes, and then I can just, call myself home, say, need to stay here. Okay, but it's boring.
What?
But it's boring.
What is boring?
I want to get to the next thing. I want to.
No, but you never get it, so you're not boring. Always, there is always something going on. So
But of course, whenever I notice that I have that kind of silly attitude, then there is one thing to do, which is just having the experience that I have, and
the experience,
and be okay.
that you don't like, right?
Huh?
The experience that you don't like, or what?
Yes, and I can take the don't like out of it,
Mm-hmm.
and that is easier.
Yeah. And sometimes you can even enjoy what you think you are scared of, or it's just stories. So you change this and you enjoy it, and it's the same experience. Nothing has changed.
That's the attitude.
Yeah, it's like talking in English. I was very scared. I was thinking, no one is, I cannot say anything properly in English. And then I started thinking, well, I'm going to enjoy the feeling of not knowing how to express myself so well, because in Spanish there's no problem. And now I enjoy it. It's the same experience, but seen from another perspective.
Mhm.
You want to talk about the muffin theory?
I don't know if I can find it, but I found a quote.
Okay.
The first one you shared with me, actually, and I love it. It's about love. So maybe I should share that one.
Okay, that's better than the muffin.
A muffin of love, anyway. Living from love. Whenever we bring up the word love, a little alarm goes off. A soft pink light washes over everything, as if saying, careful, we're about to get sentimental. Because love, like God, is one of those words so tangled in stories that it's hard to recognize what it originally meant, right? And that's something we'll have to get used to as long as we're using words. The fact that what I say and what you hear might not be the same thing.
Yes.
My idea of love isn't sentimental, and it's definitely not romantic. It's not, I can't live without you, or you give my life meaning, or anything like that. It's the feeling of being part of everything, of belonging, of being at home. It's a sense of well-being and quiet gratitude that comes simply from being alive. I believe love is our element, our essence. It's what we truly are when we forget the character we've built to speak and act on our behalf. When you see the world through love, the drama fades. You accept whatever comes, whatever shows up in your life. And if it's not to your liking, you thank it for the chance to grow. Like you just mentioned, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You draw a line in the horizon and say, that's where I'm headed. I have no idea how I'll get there, but I will. I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to struggle. I'm willing to let go and trust. When you're in love, you're not stuck in your head, lost in horror stories. Life flows like a river, and you let yourself be carried by the current, knowing that, being part of the flow, you're also helping shape its course. In love, all the villains vanish, starting with you. You see innocence and wisdom everywhere. You realize there's no real distance between you and anyone else, not even miles. You stop needing someone to make you happy or make you feel loved, because that's exactly what you are. Okay, this goes on for a very long, but yeah, it's nice. So yeah, I recognize the feeling of that.
Yeah.
The villains vanish.
Hmm?
The villains vanish.
Yes, yes, especially me. I mean, you. I mean,
Especially me.
ourselves. Yeah, yeah. I think it's true. Yeah, and I think when we are in love is when we are really ourselves. It's not that we are crazy or anything, as they say, no? This illusion or things like that. I think we are seeing the things in a good way. That's all. That makes us feel very light, very. I think it's good to be drunk of love.
Yeah. So it's like a state of mind or a consciousness. Yeah. In that insight, for me, it's been really changing everything, like really in a miracle way. And I would love for everyone to see that. And
I love, you mean?
yeah. But that's, I mean, it's kind of it took me a while to realize that, oh, thank you, Antonio. Nice to meet you. And it took me a while to understand that my way of seeing it, my way of saying these love things wouldn't resonate with everyone. But actually talking from that feeling would reach that frequency in other people to help them feel something that might sound slightly different in their heads and in their words, but would basically be the same. So talking about beyond the words,
Yeah.
it's it's what I call love. Someone else would call maybe freedom or peace.
Yeah. peace, maybe. Yeah, you see, when you use the word love, some people get afraid, scared. Don't know why. Mhm. It's like very powerful. It's like God, God, love.
Before that, I was scared of love, yeah, but also hungry for it. I don't know.
And now, how do you feel?
And now, well, of course, it's a process, but like knowing the real love, wow, it made me feel so real, so alive. And then of course, when you've seen something, I think this is general, then you encounter a challenge that challenges that insight. So it's like you have to learn how to include also this and also this into everything is love.
Yeah.
And and yeah, that's what makes it interesting.
Good. Okay.
How has it been for you?
For me, I think that sentence that I don't remember well, the villain
The villains vanish.
vanished. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was a major one because maybe I didn't think very well of myself. More like I think the whole point was there, and what I've seen with some people is they all catch exactly that the villain vanish. I mean, it's something that resonates with many people. But now I don't think like that. I mean, now I think I'm okay, like you, like everyone else, and it's great to feel this love. It's great. I don't know how I could be without it. I mean, not without the person. It's not about another person. It's the love. How can you live without loving yourself and other people and feeling you deserve being happy and all that? I don't know. Can't imagine going back to that. But it's been like a present, a wonderful present, like something like there are many good things coming. The best years are ahead, things, something like that for me. Doesn't matter if I die tomorrow. That sense of hope is wonderful.
I've been reading this book. I don't know. Let me just go.
The one, Rumi?
Oh, no. I'm reading it over and over. 40 Rules of Love. It's beautiful. But no, I was talking about this one.
What's the name?
Morgan?
Marlo Morgan? I've never seen him.
It's not a nurse. It's a it's a
Er det ikke en meget gammel bog?
it's a book from 91. So yeah, I guess old. It's called Mutant Message Down Under. So it's an Australian.
Yes.
It's
Well,
an
I was a
Australian.
young girl or a young woman. I read this book. Very good book.
Really?
Yes.
Wonderful. So yeah, this is
What's the name again? Mario? Something?
no, the mutant message down under. It's about a lady. She's a doctor, and from America. So she moves to Australia and starts doing things with the Aboriginals, like the
Why? Wow, interesting.
and then she gets an invitation from this Aboriginal tribe, and they kind of kidnap her and take her with them across the desert in Australia
It's
to
true?
teach her about real life.
Is that true story or not?
Yes, this is her memoirs about that trip.
Wow.
So one of it's like they don't talk, they just do telepathy. They talk
Wow.
through their thinking, and that is why she don't know what they're talking about. They don't even know English. There's one person she can talk to, that's all. And they don't gather stuff. They just like food keeps showing up for them, like plants, like animals,
Really?
and they just survive like on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis and they keep walking. They sleep on the sand. They don't have houses, nothing. So it's like one of the things that they keep asking her is like, do you understand eternity? And she's like, every time she answers, yeah, I got that one. and I keep thinking that answer is funny, right? Because when you talk about life and death and not being scared of death or being scared of death might have something to do with, do you understand eternity? Like really
Yeah.
understand it. And I think that being in that feeling of love, that's where it's at. Not saying that I know all about it, but I
Now,
think
now, now I want to read that book.
okay.
What is the name of the author?
Marlo Morgan. It's nice.
Marlo Morgan.
So I just thought of it when you said you're not scared of dying. So I have some clients that have that issue actually, and it's something that you really cannot give them. They have to experience that on their own, right?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes words get in the way. Many times. Mm.
So, but like the idea of time and those kind of stories
Yeah.
is what makes it scary, makes it look scary,
Yeah.
maybe.
Okay. So very nice talking to all you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you for coming.
If anyone has some question or anything that wants to say, or otherwise we can finish here, whatever you want. Okay?
I think they're okay.
Okay. Bueno.
Okay.
Tak, I don't know how to say tak.
That's correct. Tak.
Thank
Gracias.
you very much. Muchas gracias. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye for now.
I just realized I never had a fear of being
No.
forward.